Most people know Amul as a dairy brand. Very few realize what it really is. One of the India's greatest supply chain and manufacturing systems. Welcome to day 3 of celebrating Indian manufacturing. And at the center of the story was Verghese Kurien. Ironically, when Verghese first arrived in Anand, he had no intention of staying. He had been sent to work at a government creamery and was simply waiting for his bond to end so he could leave. But before he did, Tribhuwan Das Patel asked him to stay, not to take any another job, to help build a system, because the real problem wasn't producing more milk. It was everything that happened after the milk left the farmer. At that time, India's dairy ecosystem was broken. Farmer produced the milk, middlemen controlled the prices, and as cities needed the supplies, villages had almost no bargaining power. And unlike most products, milk doesn't wait. Every morning, it had to be collected, its quality has to be tested, then it had to be chilled, processed, packed, and transported before it spoiled. Most people looked at this and thought India needed more milk. Verghese looked at the same problem and reached to a different conclusion. India didn't have a production problem, it had a system problem. So instead of focusing only on factories, he redesigned how the entire chain worked. Villages societies collected the milk, district unions processed it, a state federation marketed it, and throughout the process, the farmers remained the owner. That was the real innovation. Not one massive factory, but thousands of disciplined collection centers working like one coordinated manufacturing network. Not one powerful middleman, but millions of small producers connected through a single system. That model eventually became Operation Flood, and by 1985, it had grown to over 43,000 villages cooperatives, connecting more than 4.25 million milk producers across India. The remarkable part, this happened long before technology. Trust made the system work. Farmers trusted that the milk would be collected every day, that its quality would be tested fairly, and they would be paid on time. Consumer trusted the milk would reach them consistently. That trust created discipline, and that discipline created scale. That's why Amul became much bigger than a dairy brand. It became proof that India could organize one of the world's most complex supply chain at an extraordinary scale. There's an important lesson in that. People often think scale comes from centralization. Sometimes it does, but just as often, scale comes from designing a system where every participant has an incentive to make it work. That's exactly what Verghese Kurien built. This is celebrating Indian manufacturing because behind every great Indian company, there is a story worth remembering.